And the Oscar for Best Picture is presented to...
And the Oscar goes 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 to...
And the Oscar goes...
And the Oscar goes... And the Oscar goes to...
Welcome back to The Better Half. I'm Bradley J. Halverson, and here with me, she's my better half. It's Carly Corio. Hi, Carly.
Hi, Bradley J. How are you?
I'm good. We're in the studio.
We are in the studio. We are in my freshly built studio out of my own home. Own home where I live by myself.
Yep.
Yep.
This is our New York office. When we're at my place, that's the LA office. So
Yep. I'm happy to have you here.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. And we have a really fun movie to talk about.
Now, every time we get together, Carly, in person, it's always a good time. So I'm always happy. Like, regardless of what the movie is, when we're together, we're going to have fun.
And this is, the third time we've recorded in person? Well, I guess we had the pilot.
Yeah, the episode 0.
We had the episode Eddie.
Yes.
We had the episode On Your Couch.
The Moonlight.
And then this one. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay,
We got to do more of these.
We do. I mean, 4 out of the first 24, a solid amount. We can do this more often.
We could do it. Yeah.
One really other quick thing.
Yeah.
Is it like today or it was like a couple weeks ago? It officially hit 1 year since we recorded our pilot episode, right?
Yes. When we're recording this, we're here in April. But this is right around the time that we watched Wings together for the first time. And we had certainly bought the microphones. Like, we had committed to doing the podcast, which is exciting. I also, I can't believe we're on episode 24, but I also can't believe we've only done 24 and it's been a full year.
Feels like more.
Yeah, we have so much more to go.
But we're having fun.
No,
and it really is fun. And it's kind of cool. Like, a year into it, we're back at where we started, here at my place.
Yeah.
We watched a movie separately, but we're going to record together. So I'm excited. We both have our coffees and our good attitudes.
Before we get into it, too, I saw a little bit of Oscar news came out, but they've already set the dates for the 99th and the 100th ceremonies.
Oh my god, I'm getting my calendar out. When are they?
Oh, crap. Okay.
You have this big announcement you're not going to give them? I mean, that's fine. You don't have to.
Okay. No, I do remember.
Okay.
Yeah, the 99th, we're sticking with March, so... The 99th is happening March 14th in 2027.
Pi Day.
And then the 100th is happening, I believe, on March 5th, 2028.
Ooh, that's early.
Yeah, and then starting 2029, the Oscars will be on YouTube.
That is kind of cool, though, because this movie I watched on YouTube, because it is public domain.
Public domain, baby.
This whole episode is sponsored by YouTube.
Thanks, YouTube.
Thanks, YouTube.
Well, we're here talking about All Quiet on the Western Front, directed by Lewis Milestone. It came out in 1930. It won Outstanding Production at the 3rd Academy Awards, which took place on November 5th, 1930.
What?
Brad, did you just say November?
Wait, November?
November.
That's very late. Why would it be November?
So, this is the 3rd iteration, right, of the Academy Awards. They're still figuring their shit out.
Mm-hmm.
And we just mentioned that the 100th is going to take place in 2028, despite the fact that the first Academy Awards took place in 1929. And that is because 1930 is the only year in Oscars history that there were 2 Academy Awards. This is actually the second Academy Awards to take place in 1930. They decided to hold the awards in November to move them closer to the eligibility period. So, again, they're figuring their shit out. The first 6 years are a little bit wonky.
I mean, it's okay to try things.
It's historic for that alone. I mean, no other year did 2 Academy Awards take place. And just kind of like Wings, we're heading back to World War I yet again.
I just love World War I.
Interestingly, All Quiet on the Western Front is an adaptation from a German novel by some German guy with a German title.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, in Wings, we got World War I from the American perspective. Cavalcade, it was like World War I from the British perspective. And now here, we're going to actually get it from the Germans' perspective. Of course, we were on opposite sides of Germany. Wow. I think it's interesting that we're seeing it from the quote-unquote enemy's side.
And we'll talk about it later, but there was a lot of unhappiness about that.
Yeah.
From pretty much every country in the whole world.
Yeah, it's interesting because despite this being based on a German novel written by a German guy featuring German characters, this is very much an American production film with American actors with slightly European accents.
Yeah, sometimes. They very rarely held on to their accent very well, but it was an interesting choice when and when not to hold true to the German culture, but...
This is very much a Hollywood production.
Yep.
And they all speak English. We did watch a sound version. This film also has both a sound and a silent version. which is pretty cool. I mean, we're really 1930. This is like the cusp of the time in which these talkies, these like sound films are coming out, you know, and even with Wings is like technically like a sound film. Like the version we watched included like the synchronized sort of sound, the airplanes, everything. It just didn't have any dialogue. This truly had both the sound and the dialogue in it. And we did not watch the silent version because we didn't want to.
Because we didn't want to, we didn't have to.
We didn't have to.
And we both, I think, took a peek at the silent version and compared it to sound version and said, we're going to have a lot more to talk about. And it just made more sense.
And you mentioned that it's in the public domain. It actually entered the public domain on January 1st, 2026. I had to do like a mini deep dive. It really is like 95 years after a thing has been made, it will be in the public domain. And so we are really at this phase where like every year a Best Picture winner will enter the public domain.
Does it have to? Or is it like if someone else owns the rights?
It's like whenever you filed for copyright, there's other stipulations as well, but typically like 95 years after you applied for copyright. The fourth Best Picture winner, Cimarron, also actually entered public domain this year as well because they actually applied for their copyright in 1930, despite the fact that that film released in 31. It is kind of fascinating and also boring at the same time, but I have a lot of free time on my hands, so.
You love a good legal dive.
Oh yeah, I love copyright law.
You love it.
Okay, well, we're heading off to war.
First, before we get started, I want to read a quick summary of the movie.
Okay.
The film follows a group of German schoolboys talked into enlisting at the beginning of World War I. The story is told entirely through the experiences of the young German recruits and highlights the tragedy of war through the eyes of individuals.
That was longer than a tweet. Really?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't, Brown.
Damn. Okay, you're good.
I actually have no idea. It definitely could have been.
Either way, love it.
Love. Thank you.
Should we get to it?
Let's get to it.
So, before the movie really begins, we get greeted to this opening caption, and I do want to read it because I do like it. It said, "This story is neither an accusation nor a confession, and least of all, an adventure. For death is not an adventure to those who stand face to face with it. It will try simply to tell of a generation of men who, even though they may have escaped its shells, were destroyed by the war." So I do think that just sets the tone immediately. You know, this film is very much an anti-war film. Yeah. And I think that's very evident. We are transported, as you can imagine, to Germany. This is early kind of World War I time. So I imagine maybe around 1914 is when this film is starting. And really we're seeing like a celebration. We're going to see a bunch of soldiers like marching down the street and everybody is outside. Nobody's on their home on their couch. Everybody is just like hooting and hollering and celebrating these soldiers who are literally marching off to war. And I thought this was interesting because, like, in Cavalcade, when they were all heading off to the Second Boer War, they were all getting on the boat and all the women were crying and fainting and screaming, and it was a very sad occasion. Here, from, like, an Americanized German version of this, they're celebrating their German soldiers heading off to war.
It very much looked like when soldiers come back from war.
Yeah,
You know, it gave that kind of vibes. And so I think as the viewer, I was kind of like, what's going on? And then you very clearly see that they're leaving for war.
Yeah, and a couple of characters mentioned, like, oh, this will be a quick war. So maybe they also didn't realize, like,
Didn't they say that in Cavalcade, too?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this can't go longer
World War
than
I,
3
that'll
months.
be quick.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to see, like, a random mailman character who is delivering mail, and he's like, hey, this will be the last piece of mail I deliver, because tomorrow I'm getting a uniform, and I'm going to be a sergeant in the army. And they're like, whoa!
Woo!
Way to go, Himmelstoss! And we literally cut it away, and we start, like, coming into this like classroom, and at first it's still just like this cacophony of noise from like the street.
It's an interesting shot.
Yeah.
You're, like backed into the classroom, and then you see the chalkboard, and then you see the teacher,
professor,
and he's like the happiest person in the whole world.
Yeah, windows are wide open, and everybody's like, still from the street. And you can see the professor like animated talking, and you can't hear his dialogue at all. This professor is teaching... I don't know what he's teaching, actually.
No, like pride.
I don't even know how old these boys are, but he's teaching to a classroom full of young men.
They look 15.
And he's not teaching them, like, calculus or anything. He's specifically giving them, like, a 5-minute monologue about how great war is and how they should all be pumped.
And how it's honorable to go, and it's for the country, and the country's the best, and...
He's like, you'll get the hottest women, your parents will love you, your country will love you. The professor is very much romanticizing the nature of war. It's honorable to sign up, to enlist, and go fight. your country needs you, all those things that a recruiter, and it's weird that just a random academic guy is giving this speech.
And then I think all of a sudden one of the guys like, I'll go.
Yeah, it was very like, oh, Captain, my captain.
Yeah, I'll go. Want to go? I wouldn't not go.
Me, please.
Yeah, one by one, and then they all like get up and dance, right?
Yeah, it was. They all like throw their papers like it's the last day of school. They're like, wow. And I thought it was interesting because it was all these like close-up shots of like their faces, and they had like maniacal, like the professor like was all like wide-eyed, like wow, like these boys that like don't even know what they're signing up for. They're all just so excited, and this professor seems to be, I think, more excited that he influenced these boys to join.
He got some.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah. And it's crazy. They leave the classroom and then they go somewhere else and then they all emerge with uniforms on and then they immediately go off to war.
Yeah.
And I'll say in the midst of this, there's about 6 or 7 boys. The one that we seem to follow the most is Paul here. The most we know about Paul is he wants to be a writer, which, get in line, Paul. I think the professor at one point, he's like, I know one of you wants to be a writer, but you forget that stupid dream and join the war effort.
Paul's like, damn.
Paul's like, okay, damn.
Get in line, Paul.
That's hot. So the boys all head off and they got a pep in their step. They're very excited. And they basically head off to like boot camp where they come to realize like their drill sergeant is Himmelstas, the mailman.
The mailman.
And they're all like, oh, Himmelstas, like a friendly face, someone we know. Like you were just our mailman like 3 days ago, they said. And Himmelstas though, he's got his sergeant hat on.
Yeah.
He's like, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck.
Line up, boys.
He's awful.
I ain't no mailman anymore.
And somehow like knows everything about the military. He's like, let's go, march, march, march. He literally says, everything you ever learned, forget it.
And they're like, oh damn. Yeah, so they all have to like get undressed, get into their uniforms.
There was a lot of men undressing.
Yeah, it could have been spicier.
Yeah.
I mean, Wings gave us butts, so I really was hoping
it did very much give the Wings boot camp vibes.
Yeah.
They were like, in all the rooms, and they were all, obviously there. They did start to undress, and I was like, oh. And then one of them like kissed.
Yeah, another one, yes.
So I was like, is this Wings? Did I click on the wrong movie? But I wrote man kiss. Brad's bricked up. No, I mean, it wasn't too spicy. You're right. It was a very friendly smooch. They're
all like literally sleeping in the same room, right? It's like a bunk bed style sort of like cots lined up and everything. So, and I breezed past by this too, but I remember the professor also was like, you all are gay heroes. I remember him saying
How
that.
did I miss that?
He called them gay heroes.
Gay
and I was like,
heroes.
okay, we're...
Man, do we need some of those in this world,
Mr. Mailman here, he's taking his job very seriously, and we're going to get treated to like a classic boot camp training montage. Mr. Mailman is making them all like get down to the mud, right?
Yeah.
And sing and chant as they march and stuff, and the boys are like... They're like, wait, this isn't, like, fun.
Hold on.
Wait a second. This is, like, hard work. And I'll just say, I've seen quite a few war movies. I don't think Mr. Mailman was really doing anything extreme here.
No.
Like,
this was the easiest boot camp I've ever seen.
He just made them, like, get down in mud. I'm like, I have seen far worse.
And they, like, sang a ton.
Yeah.
They were singing.
It's basically a musical.
At one point, they did crawl through mud, and I was like, oh, now it's going to start. But that was the hardest it got.
Yeah. And the boys though are pissed.
Yeah, they're ticked off.
They don't like Mr. Mailman, Himmelstas. They don't like him. They talk shit about him behind his back. And at one point, like somebody else, a corporal or some other higher ranking guy is like, all right, these boys are ready to go. We're going to send them to the front tomorrow. Whatever. Give them leave till midnight. But at this point, they're drenched in mud. So they have to spend what remaining hours they have basically getting cleaned up and stuff, while Himmelstas is going to go get drunk at some local bar. And so the boys are all back in their little, like, cot room. And they're like, man, fuck Himmelstas, like, how dare he? We're not even going to get a break before we have to head off to war. And one guy, probably Paul, the leader, he was like, but I got an idea.
I know what we should do.
Fade to black. Cut to nighttime. Himmelstas is, like, coming back drunk. He's, like, stumbling all over the place. He's, like, singing one of his songs.
I can't stress enough how bizarre the next 3 minutes of the movie are.
This was so weird. And we cut to the boys. They're also outside laying their trap. They like lay a wire in between 2 trees. They like climb up the trees, and they got like a huge like blanket, like a sack. And Himmelstas is like trips over the wire, and then the boys like fall from the tree, pounce on it, bag him
up. Meanwhile, Himmelstas is screaming like a girl.
Yeah. Ah! The boys like expose his backside. and they just spank the shit out of him.
Spank, spank, spank. I wrote spanked multiple times, ? Like, this was the prank.
Right, yeah.
That was it.
That, and then they throw him into some mud.
Yeah, and then
and they leave him there.
And they leave him there.
And then we literally cut to the next day and they're at war. Like, is that a series wrap on Himmelstoss?
Right. In my head, it was like, this had to just be them, like, showing us how they're kids. You know, they're like kids.
Yeah.
They want to have fun. They still have, like, this pure heart,
Yes.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have loved to know how it read in the book, this scene, because I'm sure something like this happened in the book. But yeah, this whole scene, I was like, what was the point of that? And I thought something awful was going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought one of them was going to get hurt. I thought Himmelstoss was going to get hurt. But no, they faded out on him getting spanked in the butt. So
This is not a series wrap on Mr. Mailman.
No, we will see him again.
We will see him again. And so now the boys are heading off to the front line. This is the Western Front. Admittedly, I don't know much about World War I.
No.
I wasn't there. So really the Western Front is like miles and miles of trenches. Even if you're not like a war buff or historian, like you know what this trench warfare like looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, like the Germans very much have like invaded Belgium and they have set up this Western Front, and on the other side is France. And so you got trenches on either side, and in the middle is what they call no man's land, which is just like filled with like wires and all sorts of crap. But that's truly that no man's land is literally like once you're in it, like all bets are off. There's no boundaries. There's no country lines here. It's truly just mad chaos. And this is what the boys are heading off to. And before they get there, I think even on their way there, there's like at one point like a random bomb just like falls and really like spooks them. Like nobody's like hurt. Like one of them, his name was Ben, spelled B-E-H-N. Out of all of them, he's the very much like, I don't think I want to be here. Reality's starting to set in a little bit. So before the boys get to the trenches, they like stop at this like dilapidated shelter tavern. Like I couldn't really tell where this was, but in here already is like a group of soldiers. These are much older than the boys. These are soldiers who have been around the block, who have already seen some shit.
They called them the second company, right?
Yes,
the older
okay,
men.
yeah. So we get created to the second company, and there's about like 4 of these guys. The most prominent one is a guy named Kat, K-A-T. He's not in the scene just yet, but the other boys are like, man, I'm sure starving. Does any of you old bitches have any like some food? Like, and the older guys are looking at them like, oh, you got a lot to learn about this town, sweetie.
Any of you old bitches.
Yeah, it might be paraphrasing. And the older guys are like, they got some dry humor to them. They're like, yeah, we would love some food too. Yeah. Their leader, Kat, comes back into the scene, and he's the one sort of out like stealing like a big giant like hog.
Big pig. It just like a door opens and it just comes out. It's like, okay.
Ew. So he comes in and immediately like everybody like swarms around Kat. They're like, oh, food. And young boys are like looking at it too, like licking their chops. They're like, they want in on this action. And the older guys are like, these boys are gonna like take all of our food. Don't give them any Kat. And Kat, like, he's definitely got like a gruff exterior, but I would say he's like pretty kind to all the boys. Or
yeah, he has a very older brother, fatherly manner to him too. And I looked it up because, like you said, they're definitely older. Mm-hmm. This actor, Kat, is 50. Like, much older, older, and these boys basically looked 16 when you first meet them. I think they're supposed to be like 17, 18. But yeah, so this, you can picture this Kat, very fatherly. Mm-hmm. The boys definitely look up to him. Yeah.
And the boys are like, we got money, we can pay for this pig or whatever. And he's like, put your money away. Like, do you got cigarettes?
Right.
What do you got in your pockets? And we're starting to learn about the culture. Like, these soldiers are not being fed by the organization for which they work for. They're not being treated well. They're just literally like thrown into metaphorical trenches and soon to be literal trenches. So yeah, we get this established. We're also going to learn like, okay, second company, like we got a wiring mission, later tonight. And so this is really, Kat's going to take the time to kind of teach the boys like how it is around here. And you can tell they're all a little bit nervous because, again, this is like the first thing they're kind of being thrown into. And this wiring mission happens in no man's land. So they go out at night, right, where the enemy can't see them, and they lay out all this wire.
I was like, what's a wiring mission? And then it quite literally is laying barbed wire.
Yeah, literally like a huge spool of wire, right?
That's all they're doing.
And so out there in no man's land, like they're kind of laying the wire. Again, they're trying to do this under the guise of night, right? Like unseen by the enemy. But again, random bombs are falling. I think at some point they are noticed. I'll say this movie, there's no gore. There's no blood here. There's no violence. So a lot of times I had a hard time being like, oh, oh, that guy's dead.
Yeah, you're so
Because
right.
you would hear a bomb, and you would maybe see like ground like explosion, but it'd be like 30 yards away, and then the guy would be like,
You're so right.
The reason I bring this up because we do tragically lose one of the boys here, and it's Ben, the one who didn't really want to go out there, who literally was like peer pressured into it by his friends, like is the first one killed. This movie reminds me of Platoon a lot, where we were also following a group of guys in a hellish sort of territory, and one of the first casualties in Platoon was like that overweight man who that people kind of treated poorly anyways, but Charlie Sheen liked him, his character, and he was one of the first casualties. So again, we're really setting the tone that like your innocence is like being murdered outright.
Yeah.
And I think for the boys, this is like their first like, oh shit moment. And one guy, Franz, like he takes this really hard. He sees like Ben out there, and because the rest of the boys like get into like I guess the trench, but Ben is out there, his corpse, and Franz takes it upon himself to like get up out of the trench and pull Ben's body into the trench. And Kat is like, why would you do that?
Why'd
like
you
that
do
was
that?
that was dumb. And
he's like, you risked your life.
Yeah, he's like, it's Ben, it's my friend. He's like, that's a corpse, doesn't matter who it is. I think Kat is a nice guy, but he's gonna tell it to you straight.
Yeah. You see like their innocence and their like excitement or pride for what they're doing, which was preached into them, just getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, and so they're literally like in this like foxhole in this trench for a long while. And you know, the older guys, again, they're used to this. They're like playing cards, like they're passing the time that way. They're all like, there's like 10, 15 men just all crammed in this like hole. I didn't even really know where they were initially, but as bombs would fall, like you would see like dirt like falling on top of them. And so they're like, oh, they're like in the trench still. Again, the boys each have their own sort of response to this. I think Paul, who's the leader, he's well done. He's playing cards with them. He's talking to Kat, whatever, getting along with them. Franz, who was like good friends with Ben, he's like having nightmares. Like all the other boys are like holding their knees, like rocking themselves back to forth. Like they're not doing well.
Yeah.
And as bombs continue to fall, Franz eventually sort of, I think out of sheer panic or hysteria, he just runs out, literally is like about to emerge out of the trench, and then gets hit by some shrapnel. Again, it was hard to deduce that because we didn't actually like see it. He just kind of falls, and everybody kind of rushes out to him. They're like, "Oh my god! Like, get this man a stretcher and get him out of here." And so we might already be losing our second guy here, but Franz, he's gonna get put on a stretcher. He's gonna get carried off to Graceland Memorial. And this leads into like the very first like major battle. And so it's gonna
big attack, I wrote.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to like describe what's going on. I will say the Germans have these helmets like that was helpful, a visual cue.
Yes.
But the German helmet is like, it looks like a regular helmet, but there's like a spike in the middle of it.
They're very conspicuous. Like you said, it was very easy for us to then tell. It was very helpful as a viewer. Those are the Germans.
Yeah.
And anybody who didn't have this stupid spike, it was literally like a metal spike on top of their helmet. So I actually did some digging on this little spike, and I wanted to talk about it. Okay. If that's okay.
Go off.
But I guess it's a spike, and it's called a Pickelhaube.
Oh.
And it's, of course, German.
I love pickles.
I know, you love pickles. I did think about that. And you probably could tell later in the movie they don't have them. It was only here at the beginning, and they were phased out in World War I because Germans learned they were very conspicuous. They weren't helpful.
Yeah.
I guess they originated from, like, I kept reading from Prussia, and of course when they used to have combat, it used to be like swords, and you would like strike from the top down, and helmets used to be like leather. They didn't used to be so hard. They didn't have the material. So what it would do is it would like cause like almost like a peel off. If you hit the spike, it would like peel off to the side, so it wouldn't go straight down, but it caused like something for them to peel off. So I guess Germany reiterated that into their helmets in the beginning of World War I before they phased them out. And I guess they were also supposed to be for like airflow. There was like little holes at the top, and they allowed for airflow and stuff, but yeah, I did read that they were phased out. Okay. 100%. I was like, why did they have those? Yeah. Like, that makes, especially in this war where they're all in trenches, like, you just see these little spikes sticking up, and I'm like, that's not helping you guys at all. You just added
There's a row of pickles.
Yeah, right. You just added 4 inches to yourself, so all you see are these little pickles dancing around. This is
a full-on battle. You know, the French are advancing on their side of no man's land, so the Germans are all getting up out as well. And yeah, it really is just like kind of a long montage of just sound, a lot of whistles, because it just was like a cacophony of noise.
Yeah. Really quick, can I say about this? Like you said, they don't show a lot of gore in this movie. Yeah. And I was watching this on this huge TV I have. But no, I'm just saying. So I was watching it, and obviously, like, you're just seeing it, and it's terrifying. Like, it's terrifying that this actually happens.
Yes.
And to see, and of course these are actors, but to see these men jumping into the trench and just, like, they all had, like, bayonets, a lot of them, like, it was a lot of bayonet warfare, but, like, just to see a man jump into a trench to kill another man, like, and I know I'm just preaching to the choir because, like, real life people do this every single day, but it's horrifying. It's horrifying that this happens. And I know this movie gets into these, like, themes about, like, why war and what it actually does for people and who it benefits. But, like, you look at these young men and, like, they're just doing this. Yeah. And this scene alone, I roar, terrifying that this happens because it's just horrifying. Yeah. And this scene, I feel like it was the first big one. And as you're kind of going along with these young men, too, who you just saw, they were happy and they were excited to join. And then I think just as a viewer, even I got, like, somber. I was just like, wow, this is crazy that this happens.
And, like, this is one battle, but, like, this trench warfare went on for years. And I read that it resulted in mass casualties for both sides. Like, this was, like, the deadliest form of warfare. To me, I found frightening just how often you're hearing, like, that whistling, and you just know, like, a bomb is coming.
And you don't know where.
And you don't know where. Yeah.
It's horrifying.
And you just have to keep advancing, and that's literally all these soldiers ingrained. Like, you keep moving forward, keep going. With this battle, I will say the boys make it. Cap makes it. The second company, they do survive this first initial battle. After the battle, like, there is, like, this scene where, like...
It's so funny. I think the director was like, okay, we just need a little bit of humor.
Yeah. The second company is going to get treated to a nice big meal. There's initially some back and forth, like, this cook guy, made enough rations for literally, like, 150 people, and they're like, well, there's, like, 70 of us here, so could we all get, double rations? And
he was like, well, there's only 70 of you? I should have been notified.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you cooked beans. Like,
yeah, right. It's like mush. It's like Big Brother slop in a giant...
He's taking his job so seriously, and these men who just were fighting in a war, they're like, just give us more beans. And he's like, I cannot do that. Like, this is a lot of food for just 70 men.
And it tells you how many people who probably just died. Like, they were supposed to be, and
they're starving. These men are starving.
They're not being treated well at all. And so they, it takes, like, some other sort of commanding officer to step in and be like, just give them the goddamn food.
Right.
And we get this, like, interesting scene where they're all eating their Big Brother slop. And they're all, like, outside, and they're all kind of lounging around. And the boys kind of start this, like, almost, like, philosophical discussion about, like, why are we the ones out here fighting this? Like, where's our nation's leaders? Why is it down to us? Again, it reminded me of Platoon, where there was a similar conversation of, like, we're the expendable ones. Like, we're the bottom of the barrel. That's why we're out here, and we're the ones dying. And it's kind of true of all wars, right? Like, these wars are decided by men who will never actually set foot into no man's land. Guys like this asshole professor at the beginning who just drill it into your mind that, like, this is the honorable thing to do.
We need to do this for the country.
Right. For the fatherland, he said over and over again.
Yes.
So I thought this was an interesting conversation.
I wrote down a couple quotes from it. Somebody says, like, how do they start a war? And somebody said, well, one country offends another country. And this guy's like, what? A mountain makes fun of a
river?
A river? Yeah. And he's like, no, one person from one country does it to another person in another country. And then someone's like, so somebody must have wanted this.
Yes.
And somebody else says something, and I think this really hit me. It was like, well, this has to be doing somebody some good. Somebody has to be benefiting from all of this. Right. And again, just coming off of this scene where even I was, like, on my comfy couch and my comfy home was, like, shooken up. Yeah. And it is, like, you have to be out there. And to this day, like, people are doing this. Right. And and I think they even say, like, well, it's got to be the corporations that are benefiting from it. And it's just this conversation, which I'm sure every war, every platoon, there has to be a conversation like this around so many MREs. Right. Like, people have to be eating MREs, questioning... Meals ready to eat. All the time. Like, how can you not? How can you be putting your life on the line and not talking to your, brothers and sisters about, like, why the fuck are we out here?
It's scary that they have to analyze it. Like, you enlisted already. You already made a decision to sign up for a cause, and you don't know what the cause is because it's just about this, like, nebulous sort of, like, oh, well, you're a patriot. You're doing this for the love of your country, and you're protecting everybody behind. But in reality, like, and from my little research into World War I, it's like Germany was, like, very threatened by the British Empire, by the Russian Empire, who they were on opposite sides here. And, like, they had their own motives and motivations for being embroiled into this conflict. You're right. There is benefits to certain people and to certain corporations and certain reasons, and it's not necessarily tied to the thing that you think it is. And so the very fact that these people are dying out here...
Because the people that it's benefiting aren't sitting around this thing eating mush.
No.
You know? They're not the ones out here.
Yeah. So again, it really is like hitting home these anti-war like messages and themes. And the boys are like, well, we should go visit Franz at Grace Sloan.
Yeah, the Grace Sloan Memorial.
So the boys all gather around Franz, who is kind of really like delirious. He's out of it. We're going to learn that his leg had to be amputated, and he doesn't seem to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Franz is like, oh, I feel pain down there in my leg. And he's like, what leg?
Well, like, yeah. He's like, well, that's weird.
Okay, damn. And it might be the same asshole boy who's like, hey, Franz, like, you seem to be sickly and dying, and like, but like, can I have your boots?
Your boots are really nice. Can I have them? Because you're like not using them.
Love your boots. I would love your apple bottom jeans.
Like obsessing over these boots.
Yes. And everybody's like, Mueller, chill.
Damn.
Forget about the boots.
Right. Like he's laying here delirious, hurt.
Yes.
Forget about the boots. And he's like, oh, those boots. And the boot conversation is not finished, but they do kind of move on for a second.
Yeah, the boys kind of all head off anyways. Like Paul, you know, the leader of the boys, he's going to stick around.
But on his way out, what's his name? Cam or whatever? Mueller.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Paul, I know you're going to stick around, so, like, if you can get those boots. Like,
Again, about the boots.
And
The
Paul's
boots with
like,
fur.
yeah, okay, got it. And so Paul then goes and talks to his dying friend.
Yeah. And again, Franz is, like, devastated. Like, this is really, I think, where Paul emerges as, like, a main character of the movie.
Yeah.
I was, like, waiting for it. Because it is kind of a sweet scene where he's doing his best to kind of comfort Franz, who really is just, like, not doing well. Like, he seems to be in and out of, like, sanity almost. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. And at some point, he starts, like, fading off. So Paul tries to get, like, Dr. Gray.
A crash cart.
Code Blue.
A push of Epi, anything.
And the doctor was like, he's like, well, which one is it? And it's like the guy with his leg. He's like, I amputated like 13 legs today.
You gotta be more
Could you
specific.
be more specific? And unfortunately for Franz, I don't know why, but he does pass away here. He dies. Paul's pretty upset about this. He does remember to grab the boots.
He does take the boots.
He does take the boots.
And then
runs off.
Literally runs away.
So Paul, like, rejoins everybody, has the boots, kind of announces, like, hey, our friend Franz died. And Mueller's like, oh, good, he got the boots.
And he says, oh, awesome. And I wrote this down because it was too comical.
Yeah.
He says, I don't mind the war now. It'll be a pleasure to go to the front in boots like these.
Yep.
And then they actually cut to him. And it's funny. They, like, pan up. They show the boots.
Yes.
And then he's, like, walking. And they pan up to his head. And he has the biggest grin you've ever seen. Like, he's walking into Disneyland.
Yes.
Like,
he is walking down the runway. He is strutting in these boots.
He's strutting his stuff in these boots. Cut to instant death.
Instant death. Dies.
Dies. So,
Yep.
Brad and I were talking about these boots, and Brad texted me that they're the most unlucky boots in the whole world.
Cursed.
The cursed boots.
Again, we're on, like, Boots camera for the next 3 minutes. Like, and we see, you know, they're back in No Man's Land, and it's another battle, and it does kill Mueller here, who had the boots. So another one of the boys picks it up. I believe this one was Peter, and he gets the boots. Now he's wearing it, and then suddenly you see him die in the trenches, wearing and the camera zooms in on the boots. And that's a series wrap on the boots.
That's a series wrap on the boots. I was like, wait, how far are these going to go?
Yeah.
But they did stop trying to make the boots happen.
The boots killed 3 boys. Again, we're laughing, but it's pretty horrifying.
It was horrifying, but these fucking boots.
R.I.P. boots.
I know.
Yeah, we wanted to do the boots for our rating emoji, but the only boot that's available is, like, it's very womanly.
A very womanly
It has a heel.
boot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not it.
Doesn't work, so. Okay, and again, we don't really know how much the passage of time is happening here. I get the sense that, like, some time has passed. The boys are all back in that sort of foxhole in the trenches, right? Taking cover. And this is where our favorite mailman shows back up, Himmelstas.
He's back.
Just shows up out of nowhere, walks on in, and he's like, hey, everybody, what's going on? The boys, the older men, they take one look at Himmelstas, and they, like, mock him mercilessly.
Like, oh, God. I
You're
think
like,
they
oh,
actually
this
called
guy?
him Hemi.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's up, Hemi?
Oh, hey.
Hey,
Oh, finally you're
see
showing
you
up to
again.
war?
Yeah.
And so despite being a sergeant, which I don't have a good understanding, my dad would be disappointed.
No.
I don't have a good understanding of the hierarchy and the titles and everything, but yeah, I get the sense that maybe Himmelstas has been sort of avoiding the front line here despite being a sergeant. And is finally, I don't know why, but, like, he's here now. And nobody's really giving him the time of day. He's trying to, like, act as sergeant again to the boys, but the boys who, you know, a few months ago spanked the shit out of Himmelstas.
Yeah. They did not bring up the spanking incident.
Right. So they all kind of mock him or whatever. They don't take him seriously. And there's no time because another battle's happening.
Another attack.
And Himmelstas is looking a little scared, shook, panicking.
His eyes just grow bigger and bigger,
Yeah, he's
and
like,
he kind of and then he starts to like look back. He's like, no.
Yeah, literally, they're all like rushing forward on no man's land, and like Himmelstas immediately sort of goes into fetal position.
Yeah.
Like he just like falls to the ground. He's like,
Like, what are you doing, Hemi?
Yeah, he gets like called a coward. I don't know if it's Paul or Cat, but somebody sort of clocks his ass and is like, you need to move forward. And then he's like, okay, yeah, keep moving forward, keep moving forward. Takes like 3 steps, dead.
Dead.
Hit by a bomb.
Serious rap.
Serious rap.
On Hemi.
Listeners, I just spat all over. That was impressive.
It's okay.
Okay, sorry. My own artillery
It's
spray
okay.
here. And so, yeah, Himmelstas, the known coward, immediately ejected from the story. So I think that was our only takeaway for his character here. And this is a pretty interesting Paul arc here of his story. But
Yeah.
he eventually, they keep advancing, the Germans do. They advance. There are sort of like, it's not trenches, but there are these sort of like divots in no man's land where you can sort of take cover, right? And you're not fully exposed. And at one point, Paul is in one of these sort of dips, if you will. And
He's like looking up.
yeah, looking up, and like all the French guys are sort of like hopping over, they're bypassing him completely, except for one French guy who sees them, jumps down in the hole and
Like dives at him.
dives at him. And so Paul has like a knife
Yeah.
and stabs this French guy. And this is important because there's a difference between sort of being in the trench, shooting aimlessly into a crowd of people, not knowing who you're hitting, who you're killing. But this is a knife. This is like up close. This is personal. He has stabbed, and this man is now laying in this dip, dying.
He's suffering. Like
Suffering,
it's
yeah.
not like he did it and he's able to just kind of grieve and mourn and question, but he's now laying next to this dying, suffering man.
And Paul, like, he goes through an interesting cognitive journey here. Like, he's immediately regretful. He's like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And then night falls. And then we see Paul being like, why are you taking so long to die? Can't you just die already? Because this man has just been suffering for hours,
Yeah.
I imagine, with this knife wound to his like chest. And Paul, like, switching gears again, he was like, if you have a wife back home, I'm gonna take care of her. Your parents, I'm gonna take care of them too. Like, doing everything he can. And while he's like monologuing to this Frenchman, the Frenchman dies.
Paul says, as kind of like talking to this suffering man,
Mhm.
he's like, why did they do this to us? We only wanted to live, you and I. If they threw away these rifles and these uniforms, you could be my brother.
Mm.
And he references like his good friend
Albert.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, we could be brothers, like me and Albert.
Mhm.
And again, it's like, they're just two people. They're just
Yeah.
two men, and because of decisions that other people made, now they are in this situation.
Yeah.
And like you said, and then this Frenchman dies.
Dies, yeah.
And then it just kind of fades out on Paul just still sitting here with this dead man now.
Yeah. Literally doesn't get up out of the dip until like the next morning. Like,
Oh, yeah, it
it,
says-
it seemingly takes place like 24 hours. He was just there with this dying and then dead man. Like,
That's right.
I think that's traumatizing in and itself. Bombs have stopped falling, and like, it's safe now for Paul to kind of retreat back to the trenches. The rest of the boys, Kat and the older guys, they survived this battle as well. And there's a nice moment between Kat and Paul where Paul's like explaining to Kat, like, I did kill this man, and Kat is like reaffirming to him, like, this is the nature of war.
After all, war is war.
War is war. Then we're gonna pivot to a bizarre scene.
Again, it's like, it's dark, and then
Yeah.
they
And-
needed some kind of an uptick in vibes, I think.
I get the sense that they're like on leave or on furlough for a little bit. Like, they get some time away. We saw this with Wings too before the big push, where they had time to go to that French
the bubble.
the burlesque, the bubble scene, and Mary gets naked. Anyways, speaking of naked.
Yeah.
So the boys are all getting drunk at this bar, and they're like, it's like Albert and Paul, the two besties here. They're like, they see like a woman on a poster, so they're like, God, I'm so
Ooh,
horny.
Women. Oh, women.
Oh my God, look at her. Wow.
I'm
wow.
like, how old do you think this
Yeah.
girl is? Like 15? It's like,
Oh,
gross.
Paul, Albert, grow up. And they all are like, let's go clean up. And next thing you know, cut to them skinny dipping. They're all just naked. And it's like, it's Paul, it's Albert. One of the last boys, Lear, I think his name is, he's
Yeah.
in there. And then one of the old guys comes. It's not Kat.
Yeah.
And so they're all just naked there. And they're in this river. And I guess on the other side of the river, I believe is France. My only clue is that finally, some women have entered the movie.
We have women.
We have women. It's like 3 French ladies. They're speaking French.
They're in these like poofy dresses,
Yes.
just kind of like flirting with these men in the river.
And the boys' immediate response to seeing these women is they start to do these like front flips in the water where they're showing their asses. But I saw they were blurred out.
Me too! I slowed it down. I backed it up. I slowed down YouTube because you can do that. And it was like a circle of blur.
Yeah.
And
blur.
I wanted to know if that was a YouTube thing or if it was the original thing.
Does YouTube censor like that?
I don't know. I wonder
when we
if
watched
it's
Wings,
in
though,
public.
Wings was not blurred, and that was YouTube, too.
That's true. It was an artistic choice by...
Well, it's interesting. I did another mini deep dive.
Okay.
A lot of times in movies, especially in this era, it's classified as like a pre-code, epic whatever kind of film. And so I was like, what does pre-code mean? And it's what they're talking about is the Hays Code, which is this era from like the 30s through the 60s. The Hays Code was like the really like censorship of movies. And this gets eventually replaced with the MPAA rating that we know now, the G, the PG, the PG-13. The Hays Code was what was initially come up with. And it was bizarre, the sorts of things that were censored. You couldn't use like Christ or goddamn. Like you couldn't use these like... You know, they couldn't show interracial couples. Like, it was really like, what the hell? But this is a pre-code movie, so like, why can't we get the men's butts? I was disappointed, and...
I think you said it was the weirdest front flips ever, and that was how they were like flirting with... I'm like, talk to them! Like, they're all just like, oh, hey! Flip. And like, it's like... They kept putting their face underwater.
Yes.
It's like they don't even see you. What are you doing?
I'll say the women are not interested until one of them brings up bread, food.
Oh yeah.
I guess food is an important resource here.
And they like pulled bread out of the river.
Yeah, it was
right.
gross,
I was like, where did you get that bread?
Where did you pull that out from? So again, this whole scene was bizarre, and there is like some random soldier man on a bridge being like, "Hey, you Germans, stay on your side," or whatever.
Across the river is France.
Yeah. Paul, Albert, Lear, they are going to at night sneak over across enemy lines. They're going to go to this, I guess these three French ladies all live together in a sorority. And they literally, each one sleeps with one of them. And of course, we don't see anything. No spicy scenes, no nudity. Not much here. You think like, oh, they're going to get caught or something. No, like they just all leave the house naked. So I guess the leave furlough ends. And so next we see it's like daytime. All the German soldiers are out walking around, and then... attack. Bombs fall, and Paul and Albert both get injured. They gotta go to Grace Sloan.
No, it was St. Grace Sloan this time. It was like a Catholic hospital.
Yeah, there's like nuns. Yeah.
St. Grace Sloan.
So we're gonna spend some time at the hospital here where Albert and Paul are in side-by-side beds, and there's a third guy who I think has been there for a long time resident at this hospital.
Mr. Debbie Downer of this hospital.
Well, he's like, I love it here. He's like, I got a little boo-boo to the head, and now I'm like done with war. He's like, I love it here.
This place rocks.
Yeah. Across the hall, they see like somebody else getting wheeled out. They're like, he's like, oh, they're taking his clothes. They're taking him to the dying room. That's where you go to die.
It's like, once you go there, you don't come back.
You don't come back. A little confusing, a little like hard to follow a little bit, because initially like Paul is the one who doesn't seem to be doing well with his injuries or whatever it is, because again, we don't get to visually see any injuries ever. At one point they're like, oh, Paul, we got to take you not to the dying room but to the bandage room. It's like, why do you have so many rooms?
Just treat him here.
And he's like, no, you're taking me to the dying room. And then sometime later Paul's back and he's like, oh, okay,
I've come back.
He's back, only to learn that his friend Albert, though, has lost his leg. Another amputation. Albert is, like, pretty devastated. He was like, I loved that leg. But Paul, though, the hand of God has touched him. He is miraculously healed.
Much better now.
And the scene could have been a lot juicier or sappier, but it just suddenly Paul's at the hospital door, looking back at Albert, who has to stay behind, and Paul's like, all right, see ya.
And serious rap on Albert.
Yeah, it's kind of rough.
Yeah.
We don't know the full fate of Albert. I mean, I assume he can't go back to the war, so he was probably sent home where he was forever changed. And we are going to follow Paul, though. Paul is going to get, again, another leave, maybe due to the injury, right, to recover a little bit. But he's out on leave, so he does get to head home. And I thought this was interesting. He arrives home. He finds out his mother is ill, sort of bedridden. She's so happy to see her son again. There's a sweet moment between them. He's got at least, like, one sister who collects butterflies, so at one point... He sees a collection of butterflies in a frame or whatever.
Very insignificant conversation that you don't think matters.
Yep, don't think that matters at all, but I put a pin in that. And then he's gonna like head to a bar where I think it's his dad that's there.
Yes.
And this was interesting because like all these men, his dad included, are just having a full-on sort of strategy meeting about the war, and they got like maps out, and they're like people at the Capitol watching the Hunger Games. Like they are like excited about they're like, oh, you all just need to push on to Paris, and like if I was in the war, I would be doing X, Y, and Z, and I would be prioritizing this, and like
I said they're old white men mansplaining war to an active military man.
yes,
Like, no, you guys got to do this, and this
Yeah.
is what you should be doing, and blah blah. And Paul, they just show his face. He has no
yeah.
emotion,
Yeah, he's probably thinking, like, you have no idea what it's like out
Yeah.
there. You have none at all.
but
And
doesn't really say anything.
doesn't say
at this
anything.
point.
He's taking it all in. And then he's going to head off to the school again, the classroom. And interestingly, the professor is giving his rehearsed speech again, the
Yeah.
exact same wording, to a new group of young boys.
Don't they kind of do the same shot? They kind of
yes.
pan in just
It
the
mirrors.
same way, so
Yeah.
are instantly taken back to the beginning of the movie. And then you see kind of Paul coming in. But yeah, you see this guy up front doing the same exact speech. You see these young boys again listening and just kind of eager.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And the professor's like, and here's Paul, my star
Oh.
student, who is a war hero.
And Paul puts daggers with
Yeah.
through his eyes. He's like, shut the fuck
Fuck
up.
up. And he's like, go on, Paul, tell them how great war is, how it's such a worthy endeavor. And Paul literally looks at these boys and he's like, it is death. It is
It's
hell on earth.
horrible.
And he doesn't necessarily tell them not to do it, but he's like, you should know what you're signing up for. This is not what it's claimed to be. And shame on you, Professor Guy, for convincing us differently that this was going to be some valiant efforts that our nation would appreciate.
He has like a monologue at this point.
Yeah.
Paul does. But I pulled it up. I heard you in here reciting that same old stuff, making more iron men, more young heroes. You still think it's beautiful and sweet to die for your country, don't you? We used to think you knew. The first bombardment taught us better. It's dirty and painful to die for your country. When it comes to dying for your country, it's better not to die at all. There are millions out there dying for their countries, and what good is it? And then the professor is like, Paul, what are you doing?
Clutches his pearls.
Right. And then Paul's like, you asked me to tell them how much they're needed out there. And then he kind of looks at the boys and he says, he tells you go out and die. Oh, but if you'll pardon me, it's easier to say go out and die than it is to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the boys in the thing says coward.
Coward.
Yeah, which I was like, oh!
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, oh.
Fight his ass.
So I loved this scene.
Yeah.
I think it's, something, anybody who's ever been told to do something, and I'm not minimizing this experience, but I think you always wish you could go back and tell, somebody like, fuck you, or why
Right.
the hell did you say that, or you were wrong, or you did me wrong.
Yeah.
And I think Paul gets the opportunity. And
Yeah.
I love how he did it. I love when he did it. And I think this was a huge part of the movie. And then it basically ends where he's like, you know what, I'm going, I have 4 days left, but I'm
Yeah.
going back.
Yeah.
I'm going back because this is wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm going. I think he was kind of in a way of like, I've already gone, and to help save other people from going, I'm just going to go back. And he very clearly realizes, like, we see him in 3 different settings back in his normal old life, but he doesn't fit in. He's not the
Right.
same guy.
No.
So I think he's very much like, I have to go back.
I know. And like, just like the young boys calling him a coward, like that rejection, it so feels true. And like Paul himself can't influence any of them. He can't
Right.
get them to see the truth. And it's almost like, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to cut my leave early. Paul has to sadly tell his mom, like, hey, I'm going to, I have to head back. He kind of lies to her. He's like, no, they told me I got to come back. When in reality, he's choosing to come back early. So his mom's like, oh, please come home.
I hope you don't get hurt this time.
He does give her a little mouth kiss.
Yes,
But
mouth kiss.
It's not like tongue like the cavalcade and wings were. So suddenly Paul is back at the front lines and he's interacting with boys who look even younger than he was when he signed up, who are like begging for food, and it's sickening. And he runs into one of the older men from the second company, not Cap, but one of the other ones. And he gives them like, here's all you missed. Basically everyone else is dead. He's like, what about Kat? And he's like, oh, Kat, he's fine. He's out there, finding food per usual. So Paul's like, oh, thank God. So he goes out there and sees Kat from like a distance. He's like, hey, Kat. And Kat's like, Paul, is that you? And again, it's like, it's sweet. It's like, we didn't spend a whole lot of time with this relationship. I wish we had a little bit more. Just give us like that emotional hook. Kat's like, what are you doing back here? Oh, like, how was it? And Paul's like, home is not the same anymore. And I think in Wings, we saw when Jack returned from war, he wasn't the same. We didn't see Charlie Sheen's character come home in Platoon. We saw him on the helicopter, but you can imagine he's forever changed. Like, this is a recurring theme with all these war movies that, like, you go off one way and you come back just utterly and completely changed. And I think for Paul, he's like, I don't belong there anymore. While this conversation is happening, whistles, you know what I mean? Bombs fall.
Well, they show like this plane in the
Oh,
air.
yes.
And
The
yeah,
wing-
you
the
hear the
wings
whistle.
planes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you hear a whistle and like something
Yes.
happens around them.
Yeah.
And then you hear the plane again, and I'm like, this one plane's going after these two men.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
It very seemed like this plane was like, we're gonna get those two guys.
Right.
I'm like, this young kid and this old man, like,
Yeah.
that's your big plan right
That's
now.
your priority?
France? Yeah. I was like, why are they only going after these two? But
Yeah.
yeah, they kind of did like circle them, and
Yeah,
I
that's
think they were
true.
trying to get them.
Yeah, and so they both dive to the ground, and Kat, lets us know, like, oh, my shin's broken, like a piece of shrapnel, like, hit his shin, broke him. Paul's like, it's okay, somehow I'm gonna lift this, like, 215-pound man
Man.
onto my shoulders, and I'm gonna walk you over to Grace Sloan. The Grace Sloan tent.
Grace Sloan. The triage center, Great Sloan Memorial.
And again, this is interesting. So he's heading back, and Paul's like talking to Kat, and Kat's on his shoulders, and another bomb falls. He keeps going. He's like, oh, okay. Oh, he's like, Kat, they're really trying to take us out. They can't stop us. And Kat's not really responding. And he gets him all the way to this tent where there's these two other officers are there, and he puts Kat down. He's like, hey, his shin's broken. He needs some help. And one of the guys goes over and he's like, why bother? This man's dead.
Oh, he's dead. It was so nonchalant.
Yes.
It was like, oh, he's dead. And Paul was like, wait, what? No, it's just his
No,
shin.
he's like passed out. He needs some help. And then
No, he's dead.
he tries to give him some water, and he realizes the truth, and Paul's devastated. So when that second bomb fell, a piece of shrapnel just happened to hit Kat and killed him, and Paul didn't even realize and was carrying his corpse all the way back to the tent. Pretty brutal. We then kind of see Paul back at the front lines, back in the trench, and he has a moment sort of looking through. There's like a hole, I guess, where you would stick a gun or wherever.
And
be
he has
shooting.
very little emotion on his face. Like,
No, yeah.
he's ruined. Like,
Yeah.
you can just tell. Not that he hasn't been for the latter half of this movie, but you just see all emotion gone from his face.
Yeah. Humanity stripped away.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for this, I would say, this final moment where he sees a butterfly. I think you're reminded of who he once was, his innocence, anything that you can kind of impose upon the symbol of a butterfly, and he sees it here, and he sort of then goes up over the trench and sort of reaches out to the butterfly, and we see that there is like a French sniper off in the distance, and we hear the gunshot. The image is really of Paul's hand reaching for the butterfly, sort of twitching a little bit, and then interestingly, like the whole movie goes like silent, which I thought fit the title.
The ending visual, like,
Yes.
it goes silent, but then they show, which I really appreciated this last thing, it was like a bunch of military graves,
Mm-hmm.
like white crosses, and it was like overlaid
Oh yes,
with
like the boys marching.
Paul and the
Yeah.
boys, and they were like marching like toward these graves.
Yeah.
And it was just a shot of all them marching, and each one of them like looks back at the camera
Yeah.
and then keeps marching, and I'm like even getting chills looking at
Mhm.
like talking about it. But I just loved this end scene, and then it again, no sound. You just
it's
see
quiet.
them marching, you see these graves, and then it then fades to black. Ooh, I got chills saying that. But yeah, that was it.
That is All Quiet on the Western Front.
All
What
Quiet.
a fun one.
Yeah.
What a lighthearted.
A lighthearted, fun film. Man, I would kill for a rom-com.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, some heavy shit here.
Yeah.
It's interesting. This movie, it's a title I've heard of. I
Mhm.
recently, Netflix did a 2022 version of this. I did not watch it. It's almost 100 years old at this point, this story. And yeah, I think it stands the test of time. And when we compare it to just 2 years prior with Wings, like that was very much like more lighthearted. It had a tragic ending too, but like
It wasn't as dark
yes.
at all.
And so I think, my mind keeps coming back to like, oh, why the German perspective? That's interesting. And I do think like doing an anti-war film from the perspective of the losers of the war,
Yeah.
I think makes a lot of sense. Like
That's a good point.
the Germans do not win this. At the conclusion of World War One, like even like the shape of Germany becomes what it is today. Like today, like a lot of I said to gay.
To gay. Love.
To the gay heroes out there, we salute you. So a lot of European countries get formed, from
Mhm.
this armistice, and we did see that at the end of Cavalcade 2 when that war ended in 1918. And then there's the Treaty of Versailles, which really sort of said like, hey, we're going to commit to doing better moving forward. In reality, was sort of the first domino to fall that would lead to World War II, because Germany really will feel jilted from basically being told like, stay in line. What a film.
What a film. It, similar to the overall vibes of the movie, it had ups and downs for me.
Yeah.
Even in my, like, how do I feel about the ranking of this film?
Yeah,
It went up and down
same.
for me. But yeah, I mean, in the end, I did enjoy it. It's a movie I never would have watched if I didn't have to.
Right,
and I'm
yeah.
super glad I did.
Yeah, I think it's an important film. I think we, in our 12 Years a Slave one, we talked about just like the importance of film. This feels like an important film to watch. I think it should be shown in high school classrooms even, you know what I mean? Just to like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
as an important moral lesson that like even to this day in 2026, as we head to needless wars and things like that, like war is war. War never changes. It's just amazing that we as like the human species can't seem to learn the lesson that like war kind of sucks.
And the who is it hurting and who is it helping?
Who's it benefiting, yeah.
And they never seem to align.
Right.
Ever. They're always different groups of people, and to see this film that basically is 100 years old exploring this and to know like those conversations are still relevant is like, how can we not figure this out?
Right.
Why can't we figure this out?
Let's talk about the rating.
Okay.
And then
I would love to.
It'll probably help us formulate what our overall thoughts are of the film.
Yeah.
The emoji we did choose, again, we did not choose the heel boot.
The heely boot.
So instead we went with the butterfly. It really pops up there right at the end.
Not until the last scene in the movie did I ever think it would be a butterfly.
Right.
But I think it just makes the most sense for this movie.
So I'll be brave.
Okay, I would love for you to.
I'll step up. I think where I land, and even now, having just talked it through, maybe I'm a little back and forth, but my thinking is to give it a 3 butterfly.
Okay.
I think I ultimately landed at a 3. I think I don't want to diminish the importance of the film. I think it's highly effective in what it was trying to accomplish. But in some regards too, like the movie fulfilled every expectation that I had of it. Like there wasn't anything that sort of surprised me. Like the most surprising thing was the fact that this was from the perspective of Germans, because I did not know that about this.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was interesting to sort of think through. But the movie played out exactly how I imagined an anti-war movie would play out. I imagined that there would just be tragedy after tragedy. They would all end up being killed or dying because that was the nature of war. And so I think in that regard, it's like it didn't necessarily hit those like 4 or 5 levels for me because the movie kind of met expectations. And I always kind of view that as like that's the 3 out of 5 kind of deal. If I were to waffle, if I were to change, I would go up to a 4. The only other quibbles I have is like it was hard to tell like the boys apart. I think like
totally.
I wouldn't have minded maybe just being in Paul's POV a lot more, like for this to be his story and we're seeing his relationship to Kat, and we don't necessarily need to know a lot about the other boys as they're kind of being dispatched one by one. The him and Albert relationship could have been built up a little bit more. I don't know. I just think if we just stayed with Paul and we really got to know who Paul was, and I don't necessarily need full backstory here on Paul, but I just think this movie would have benefited from having a specific POV. So I think 3 is where I landed, but if anyone wanted to give it a 4 or 5, I would not.
Yeah.
I would totally understand why, but I'm curious, Carly, where you land.
Yeah, I was very back and forth 3 and 4, but I ultimately, because I watched this 2 days ago, all of yesterday, I was like 3, 4, and I landed on 3.
Yeah.
And honestly, talking with you now about it, I was like, even like the chills I got, I was like, ooh, is it a 4? But no, it's a few moments in the film are 4 moments. Yeah. But the movie as a film is a 3 movie. Yeah. I would say there was maybe 10 minutes total of the film that I loved, you know? And this was a 2 hour and 15 minute movie. Yeah. Like it wasn't as long as we've seen. It wasn't short. There was a lot in there that I wish would have been stretched a little more, and a lot that just didn't need to happen. So I know from what I've read, it's very true to the book. So I think that that's what they were going for. But I think I just would have loved more of some of the bigger moments. So in general, it's a 3 butterfly movie for me.
Okay.
Yeah. But I really liked it. Like I said, I think the message was really well done in this movie. Yeah. And it's so interesting to have it from the German perspective. Like, that's so interesting to me.
We're Americans, right? So we're primed to be like, Germans are the enemies and too. But again, it kind of shows that like these German soldiers are human beings just like us. Like,
exactly. Yeah. So I loved the message, but I think it's a 3 butterfly movie. I also gave Wings 3 bubbles, and I think it's far and above better than Wings.
I would agree. In reflection and seeing, Wings was our first movie, right? Yeah. So we didn't really know. I think in hindsight, if I were to change ratings, I probably would go down to 2 for Wings. Yeah. Because it kind of lines up with where I have other 2s. So, but you're right. I also gave Wings a 3 as well. But I think it was our first one, and I think we were like surprised by how much we still enjoyed it as a film. We were thinking like silent film, whatever. Yeah. But I do think like, oh, okay. And there is still some good stuff to Wings, but yeah, this is like an example just 2 years later, a better film in my opinion.
Yeah, what more you can do with a little more storytelling And honestly, sound. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder if we wouldn't have watched this movie with sound, and it was just a lot of
Those
cards.
cards,
Yeah,
yeah.
the cards that looked like in the no sound version. I really liked this movie. It's
Mhm.
something that I think that if I would be interested to talk to people about this movie. I don't know if many people I know have seen it, but
Yeah.
I'm really glad I watched it. And I think it hit some nerves in me that other movies haven't done, that I
Yeah.
think we're trying to do that. So I'll go first for the ladies, for the girls.
Yeah, were those French ladies? Suzanne, did they?
I mean, I was thinking for a while this is not for the girls, but then,
By then.
no, I mean, this is not for the ladies. That's just facts,
Yeah.
you know? It's not who this movie's for. What about you, Bradley?
A part of me thought, like, okay, yes, maybe, but I just think, like, no, these are just men who have to share tight close quarters, who are going through a traumatic trauma bonding experience, and they're getting killed off. So even though they're being called gay heroes, no, I think we know that this movie is made for anybody who believes in humanity, even a shred, and
Yeah.
it's not necessarily made with gay people in mind. So
Yeah.
not for the gays.
Not for the gays. I'm interested about ranking.
Rankings in general, or
Rankings in general.
I do have
Okay, me too.
I have an idea. I will say I'm not 10 toes down.
Okay.
So I'm completely open to negotiation.
I'm going to write what I think right here, and then if you say
Okay.
the same thing,
Okay.
I'll show you.
I'm thinking C tier.
Okay.
And what we have in C tier right now for our listeners, from top to down, The French Connection, You Can't Take It With You, Nomadland, The English Patient, Oliver! With an exclamation point. I put this movie between Nomadland and The English Patient.
Ooh, okay.
I was torn above or below English Patient, and what put it over the edge for me was like the importance of this film versus like the takeaways of The English Patient. And then I thought Nomadland is also an important film, but I was a little bit more emotionally connected. But I'm not 10 toes down. What did you write, Carly?
I did write C tier.
Okay.
So, but I wrote below Oliver.
Whoa!
I know,
Okay.
I know. And only because this movie, it took a while. Not until Paul went home, really,
Right.
was
yeah.
I like, oh, this movie, like, means a lot.
Yeah.
You know, of course, like, I get war is messed up, war is awful, war is horrifying, and I got that.
Yeah.
Until I saw Paul go home, and I was like, ooh, this message is good, and, like, this is good. I can see where you want it. I totally can. I think in terms of movies that got me to think, it is definitely above The English Patient and Oliver.
Right.
Movies that I'm like, ooh, like,
Yeah.
the purpose of that film in society, what does it serve? 100%.
Yeah.
So I can see it there, and I'm fine with that. I think anywhere in C tier, lower C tier is fine with me. I think the characters pulled me into Oliver and The English Patient more, but the purpose of the film in society and how it made me think, I do like this film more.
I think I see it from your perspective. I would put it at the bottom. I'll concede.
You always concede for me.
No, you always concede for me, actually.
You think?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
for
Okay.
sure.
I
think-
like it below Oliver.
I think your points are completely valid. Like, Oliver and The English Patient have very fleshed out characters.
I can remember Oliver characters more than I can remember a lot of these characters.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
They all did kind of bleed the same. That's why, yeah, I do wish that, like, we really honed in on Kat and Paul specifically with their perspectives and, like, anchor us in the story a little bit. But
Yeah.
that wasn't really the intention of the book. I imagine it really was just, like, this general sort of, like, anti-war story.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm fine putting it at the bottom.
Thank you for conceding to me.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Okay, cool.
You might have seen the Rotten Tomato score. 'Cause
I
it's
did.
at the top of my...
I did. Well,
I
the
thought
whole
about it
time-
too, and I was like, oh, fuck.
The whole time I'm like, what does 98% mean? It's like, and then it hit me like 2/3 of the way after seeing that. I was like, oh shit. 20 minutes I looked at that number. I had no idea what it meant.
That's where I always do it. Like, so I remember to say
Okay, that's
it.
good to know.
But
But yeah, I did see it, and so I don't want to fake that I don't know it.
would you like to reveal to the listeners what the Rotten Tomato score is?
Yes, it is very good, 98%.
Wow.
And that's a lot, and that's a long, I mean, it's obviously almost 100 years old.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people who have rated it.
Yes.
And, I mean, that has to be a tried and true rating for how
Yeah.
long, and I'm sure everybody that's contributed, it has to be a good rating, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I disagree, even though having given it a 3 butterfly.
It's pretty high, yeah. Because right now, with the movies we covered, we had Parasite at 99, and All Quiet and Moonlight are both at 98, and they're 2 of 5 films at 98.
All
so.
Quiet and Moonlight at the
I know.
same. That's interesting.
Yeah, again, I don't begrudge anybody who highly rates this, but something that you can't see from my notes,
Yeah?
and I caught this by accident, but we have an update to one of the Rotten Tomato scores.
Shut up.
One of the movies that we've already discussed, their Rotten Tomato score dropped 2 points.
What?
And I caught it by accident, and it made me realize, like, oh, these scores are always fluid. the more reviews that get added can change the trajectory.
Did you go check others? Or no?
I checked them all to make sure that they're still the same. So to me,
it must be a new movie, or no?
One could think. Because you think one battle after another. We did that pretty quickly, right? So
yeah, I mean, is it one battle after another or no?
It's not one battle.
I don't even know what I would guess.
I will say you liked this movie way more than I did.
Chicago.
I will say you want to go to the F tier.
Are you kidding me? Cavalcade?
Cavalcade dropped from a 64 to a 62.
It's going down? Oh my god, I have got to get a Rotten Tomatoes account to get that shit up. Oh my gosh.
So Cavalcade, a little bit of an update. So Cavalcade, which was already pretty low, 64, is now...
Do you think people have listened to our podcast and now have decided they want to go align with your rating?
I looked at the critic reviews and like recently a guy, even as recent as February of this year, like put a review of Cavalcade.
Wow.
So like, it's not just like film reviews they've collected over the years of history, but it's like any new film critic that is like Rotten Tomatoes certified can basically go on there. And I will say the critics do hate Cavalcade. Like
of course
collectively.
they do, which is why you hate it.
As a film critic myself who's Rotten Tomatoes certified.
Okay, well, that's okay.
Now I have to check every time to make sure
You do.
like these scores. I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, you'll have to keep us updated on the movement.
Well, let's talk about the director, Louis Milestone here. He's a Russian-American. He was actually born like Gleb Milstein.
Bless you.
But obviously Americanized his name, you know.
And he chose Louis Milestone?
Yeah.
Okay, Louis.
You know, I mentioned it before, but we're at this transition, right, where like we're moving away from silent film to sort of sound, to talkies. To dialogue. So Louis Milestone, he has like 37 years of body of a work, and most of it is within the silent film era. A lot of people say All Quiet on the Western Front is his like magnum opus. So he really kind of like peaks early, and then unfortunately like
don't we all?
Nothing ever compares to All Quiet. He is a 3-time Best Director nominee, and he has 2 wins for Best Director. He is the first person to win 2 Oscars ever.
Wow.
So he also wins Best Director at the first Academy Awards. We were still figuring out our podcast. You know, I don't feel like I really got into it, but he did win his first one at the first Academy Awards, and here he is.
For Best Director. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's also directed, I always like to note down some film titles. He directed, I believe, like a 1939 version of Mice and Men that was also nominated for Best Picture. Then he also directed Ocean's 11, which I didn't realize was an old movie.
I had no idea.
It's like from 1960.
I can't believe Matt Damon was in those movies too. I can't believe Matt Damon was acting back then. And it's like the same movie. It's not just a weird coincidence of title. I had no idea.
Yeah, I just kind of grew up being like, those are weird movie titles, but it's based off of, it's a new adaptation of Ocean's 11. So
we really can't make any original films anymore, can we?
No, we really can't.
Okay.
And then he also directed the 1962 version of Mutiny on the Bounty, which I bring up because we will talk about Mutiny on the Bounty, just not the 1962 version. We're going to be talking about the 1935 version. But he's Mutiny on the Bounty, another one that's like recycled IP, am I right? God.
Right.
These franchises these
days.
2 Mutiny, 2 Bounty.
We really can't make anything original.
That's Louis Milestone. That's what I wrote about him in his relationship to the Academy Awards. So
cool. The first person to win, too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What a milestone.
Carly, what actors did you choose? Did you do the French women?
Yeah. Only 3 French women. First, I looked into book versus movie.
Oh, yeah.
The one thing I thought was cool is this is a German book.
Yeah.
I would love for you to read the title to us in German.
God, it's like an...
Im Westen nichts Business.
Im Westen nichts new.
Yes. So the German title that Bradley just read for us actually translates in English to Nothing New in the West. So they said that over years, I mean, this book was written like right before it came out as a movie. Like it wasn't a very old book at the time. I think it was
1929.
Right. So it was very new. But I guess as it was translated and then for this movie, they decided to do All Quiet on the Western Front. So I thought that was interesting. From what I understand, because I did not read the book, this movie very, very true to the book. There were like maybe a couple scenes that were omitted, but that's pretty much it. And then I saw something on Reddit about the 2022 movie, and they said that also was true, except for they didn't include Paul going home.
Oh, okay. So just...
Right?
So you wanted a trash movie then?
That's what I'm like, wait. And I would be interested to see what the Rotten Tomato score is on that Netflix 2022 movie, but I don't know. I'm like, I don't even want to watch it if that's the case. And a lot of people on Reddit were like, that movie was trash. I feel like we probably would have heard a lot more about it. It wasn't nominated.
It wasn't nominated.
Nobody, like, for such a popular story to be given on this Netflix platform, like, it really, nobody talked about it.
Yeah.
So, I believe it. A couple other little things about the movie. It has very little score throughout. It was banned and very controversial in many places. They had like a list on the Wikipedia page of like when it was banned and when it was unbanned, and some of these places didn't even unban it until like the 80s. Like,
wow.
Some countries really had a big deal with this movie, which I
God forbid we're anti-war.
Right, exactly.
God.
Exactly. So, yeah, it was a very controversial movie in a lot of ways. And then one other thing is I read that the hand at the end, in the end shot, is, I guess they had stopped filming, and this was like a last idea from Lewis Milestone, is that's actually his hand. All the actors had gone away when they were editing.
Leaves? That's Leaves' hand?
Leaves' hand. It's his hand at the end of the movie, so that's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
If I directed a movie and the end shot was somebody's hand...
I would love my hand to be in this movie.
We're hand twins. Yeah. I would be like, I'll do it.
My hand model.
I'll do it. So I think that's very cool, something I would do.
Cool.
But yeah, so I say all that only because there was not a lot of actors to look into.
Yeah.
Lewis Ayers, who plays Paul. The only big thing about him, he was pretty busy acting after this movie until the early 1940s. And then, of course, in the early 1940s, World War II,
the sequel.
which he became noted as a 4E conscientious objector, which means that due to religious, moral, or ethical beliefs, he refused to go to war. And, and it's almost like, okay, Paul...
Okay.
That makes sense for Paul, but it also makes sense for this actor, and I guess it caused this big public outcry, of course, that this famous actor...
Coward.
Exactly, is refusing to go to war, and how do we make this right, and all these people look up to you, and so they, basically, sued him. He said, the only way I'll go is if I'm a medic, and so he was a medic, which... In my head, I'm like, so you still made him go. You still made him go to war. So he did serve in the army in World War II. And after he came back, he did not act anymore. So it kind of talks about just how it might have stripped his morality away, kind of like his character in the movie. The only other person is Louis Wolheim, who played Cat. He was discovered in 1914 by a guy by the name of Lionel Barrymore, who we know from...
You mean Drew Barrymore's...
Great uncle. Yes. And he said, Louis, you need to act because you cannot miss out on the opportunity. So Lionel Barrymore talked Louis into being an actor.
Wow.
And it was very noted. And I guess he did a lot of movies with Lionel Barrymore just because, when he was getting started in the early 1900s.
Wow.
Louis Wolheim, this was a big film for him, career-wise. And then he was set to star in Lewis Milestone's next film, The Front Page, which came out the next year. But unfortunately, Louis Wolheim died months after this movie came out, at the age of 50. I know. So Cat did pass, but it was a big movie for him. And I like to think that this end of life fame was an exciting thing. But yeah, those are really the only actors. Everyone else, there weren't a lot of big roles in the movie other than those two. And anybody else I looked into, nothing big for them. So
thanks, Carly.
Yeah, thanks, Brad.
Well, let's end this with the third Academy Awards. This was hosted by Conrad Nagel. He is one of the 30 founders of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
Wow.
So he is one of those names. The only Oscar he has is an honorary Oscar himself, but he does have 3 Hollywood stars.
Wow.
Which, Carly, you taught us, he has one for radio, one for television, one for movies. So
because people can just do that.
You just got multiple Hollywood stars.
As many as you want.
A man named Louis B. Meyer. A lot of Lewises.
There is a lot of Lewises. Louise.
He presented Outstanding Production. Louis here, he's also one of the founding members of the Academy. Makes sense as the third one, right? They're going to be heavily involved. He's also one of the founding members of MGM, one of the prolific film companies of all time. And that's super relevant because, of course, Judy Garland worked for MGM. And
that's the Lion one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and Louis, known for his temper, known for being a hothead, and a lot of people attribute him to sort of the abuse to Judy Garland, forcing her to go on diets, overworking her to death. He was very much known for finding stars and growing rising stars.
An abusive coach way.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna get good athletes, but they're gonna be, it's not in the right way.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. He's totally tearing them down. And he's almost like the professor in this movie of just know you're going to do it, you're going to be a star, you're going to be famous, and this is what it takes kind of deal.
Got it.
And yeah, he just was not a nice guy.
Great.
So fuck you, Lewis.
Yeah.
Meyer.
Fuck you, Lewis.
Let's talk about the lesser half.
Yeah, okay. And you might have this.
Yeah.
But I also read that this was Universal Pictures' first Best Picture win of 8. Can you name any other one? Can you name at least one?
Did Oppenheimer? Yeah, because
Yes!
he was not. They were not under Universal, but now Christopher Nolan films are being produced under Universal.
That was the most recent.
Let's get to the lesser half.
Yeah. Let's talk about the lesser half.
Lesser half. Only 5 films. We love that.
Because they had another one 5 months earlier. So.
Yeah, kind of crazy. So first one's called The Big House, which I feel like is what they call the Michigan Stadium, right, Carly? As our Michigan expert.
Brad, please. Yes.
Do you think this film is about Michigan football?
No.
You're right. It's about a prison.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't think so.
The Big House had 4 nominations, 2 wins. It wins in Best Writing and Sound Recording, and it's one of the first prison films ever.
Wow.
Period. Which makes sense. 1930. So
it's also one of the first films ever.
Next film is called Disraeli. This is produced by Jack Warner, also, from Warner Bros., but also one of the founding members of the Academy as well. Disraeli is a historical film. Always gotta have one of those. So it had 3 nominations and 1 win. It does win in Best Actor tonight for an actor named George Arliss, who played Benjamin Disraeli.
Good job, George.
So the next film is called The Divorcee. It's an interesting, intriguing title. It had 4 nominations and 1 win. The Divorcee gets the win in Best Actress for a woman named Norma Shearer. This was directed by a man named Robert Z. Leonard, who we will talk about one day because he directed the Best Picture winner called The Great Ziegfeld.
Ooh, can't wait.
Don't know what that is.
Ziegfeld.
Ziegfeld. So, and then the last film was The Love Parade.
The Love Parade.
I'm just the Love Parade.
Baby Love Parade.
It had 6 nominations. This was the most noms, not just of tonight, but ever at this time.
What?
Ever in 1930.
Ever in all
up to this point.
all 3 awards. Okay, got it.
Yeah, the first time a film receives 6 nominations at the Academy Awards.
Wow.
And it takes home 0 wins.
Oh.
So also the big
it
loser.
also lost the most ever.
So suck it, Love
Biggest
Parade.
loser ever.
All Quiet on the Western Front had 4 nominations. It gets 2 wins, and it's only for Outstanding Production and Best Directing, which is the first time that the Best Picture and the Best Directing win together, which will become a pretty common staple. It loses in writing and cinematography.
So no actors were nominated.
No actors were nominated.
Which makes sense.
I think it does make sense. It's like, although quite a lot of actors and actresses were nominated.
Damn.
There's like 12.
It's a long list.
But none of the boys make it on here.
Nominated.
Oh, you're right. Looks like 2 of the Best Actor nominations are for the same actor playing
in different movies.
In 2 different movies.
Huh.
A man named Ronald Coleman is nominated.
And this guy.
Maurice
What?
Chevalier.
Oh,
Okay, well, okay. They just loved men here in 1930.
They're like,
if you're a man and you start in a movie, you get a nomination.
Well, they're like, no, actually, we're going to nominate these 2 people twice.
Right, yeah.
And they're like, well, can we get...
There's no room.
And we don't have any more room. No room. Like, what about this guy from All Quiet on the Western Front? They're like, no, sorry. We gave these guys 2 nominations.
So this is the first Academy Awards where the full membership of the Academy voted for the winners. The previous 2, it was like a select, secret group of men, I imagine.
All the men could vote.
All the men were voted. Sound recording was a debut category, which The Big House wins. And if you'll allow me, Carly.
Of course.
So an actress is nominated, her name is Ruth Chatterton, for a movie called Sarah and Son. This is not in the lesser half, but Sarah and Son was directed by a woman, which threw me off because I did not think there was any...
They were allowed?
It was directed by a woman named Dorothy Arzner, who was a girl boss.
Okay,
she was one of the first female directors, period. Never really recognized. She helped launch the careers of Katharine Hepburn and Lucille Ball. She was the first woman to join the Directors Guild of America. And she's gay.
What?
She's a lesbian icon.
What?
In fact, she's been rumored to have relationships with Joan Crawford and Katharine Hepburn.
What? This is now a Dorothy Arzner Stan podcast.
I couldn't believe it. I just figured, and yet it's also not surprising, right? That there was actually a woman working just as hard as all the men, directing movies and being a fucking boss and never really fully recognized. She's not, none of her pictures are going to be nominated for Best Picture. She's not going to get a Best Director win or nomination.
Right.
And she was just out there being a proud lesbian and running shit.
Gosh, how many movies did she direct? Oh, I saw Clarabelle's name go down a little bit.
Wow.
So she basically discovered Clarabelle, which is who basically discovered Taylor Swift.
So Dorothy Arzner discovered Taylor Swift.
I'm so glad we could give her this platform
I know,
on these,
I was like-
this platform where people listen.
Yeah.
We have so many people who will now know her name. All 4 listeners.
Look
we
up
have.
Dorothy Arzner. She is an overlooked
Wow.
Hollywood legend.
Wow, that's really cool. Congrats. Thank you for bringing her to our attention. I'm glad that we could talk about her.
Yes, had to bring her up. I was floored by this information. With that said, we are all done. This is me
We can
wiping my hands.
close a notebook.
All quiet on the Western Front. And let's look towards the future of our 25th episode.
Our first quarter Quell episode.
Let's hope it's a goodie. Drum roll, please. Our first Quarter Quell movie is Driving Miss Daisy,
Driving Miss Daisy.
which
Cool.
apparently solved racism.
Yeah,
So,
Brad has told me about this movie because I have no idea what it's about. It said that it solved racism.
This
So,
one, Crash, Green Book, yeah.
Yeah, those 3 together solved racism.
This is the first of the trilogy, and yeah, so we're gonna find out all about Miss Daisy, apparently.
cool.
So.
And how she drives or doesn't.
Or doesn't drive. So, Carly, as always,
Brad,
love you.
I love you. Bye.